Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 30th of January for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the key features to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all of the ins and outs for the signs from Aries through to Pisces. If you're a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new, it's great to have you with me. Please like or comment. I answer all comments. This is very much a community. And also subscribe. And if you would like to understand what the next year will hold for you as an individual, as opposed to your zodiac sign, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast, but also my special package of 30% off your life roadmap report. This helps you to understand where you can seize opportunities more firmly, but also some of the patterns that may have repeated themselves that are not so easy. The more you can intimately understand what these are about, the more you can overcome them. Also, I will provide your free Zodiac, Indian and Chinese 12-month forecast completely free of charge. Please see the link below. So this week begins with the Sun forging a really energized link with Mars. But later in the week, Mars and Venus are actually going to be in a tense right angle. But that can just amp up the attraction of someone that you may encounter. Essentially, the Sun in the sign of Aquarius is about friendship. Mars in Gemini is about communications. So if there's somebody that you're attracted to in a social context, then the text messages and emails can soon flow. There can be a meeting up and it can be great fun. Or you may find yourself in the mood to be much more active. But with Venus, the planet of allure, in the sign of Pisces, this is a more reflective location, but Venus actually is exalted here. It likes being in Pisces, and it's asking us to be attuned to how things feel. Mars has an element of urgency around communications in Gemini. So I wouldn't think it's a great idea to rush communications around anyone. If you get to know them this week or you've been recently getting to know them, just let things go at their own pace. But there can be a sense of desire. Now also this week, we do see the Sun in a much more discordant right angle to Uranus. And this may just ring a little bit of a bell in the back of your mind. And the reason is because a year ago, this exact aspect occurred, but also because Saturn in Aquarius has been in that extended right angle with Uranus in Taurus. But the Sun's moved in. Now the Sun obviously is about our core energy. Uranus in the sign of Taurus is about everyday money, but also our self-worth. So it is possible that there is going to be something that comes out into the open as this week goes on, that the truth seeker Uranus pushes us to fess up about. And the sign of Aquarius is very much into the idea of truth because, of course, Uranus is the co-ruler of this sign. But by the end of the week on Sunday, we have a very intense full moon in the sign of Leo. This is a culmination event. If we look back to 6 months ago when we had the Leo new moon, that forged an amazing trine with Jupiter. It was very much about showcasing our talents, our desires, our passions. But the Sun in Aquarius is at the coolest point of its journey for its entire yearly cycle. It's technically in detriment, and the dispassionate side of Aquarius pushes back at what can be seen as the more frivolous and even attention-seeking energies of Leo. And because the Uranus energies in Taurus is very much about how much something's worth, but it can be an erratic energy, this is not the best of times to speculate. So over the next 2 weeks, I wouldn't be risking any resources on any get-rich-quick scheme, or if a friend recommends buying something that just seems to be absolutely amazing, I'd slow things down. Also, this can be a time when affections, whether it's with friendships or in a love relationship, can be influenced by our values. And if our values are not meshing with someone that we're spending a lot of time with, this can bring some turbulence into the open in the next 2 weeks. But also this week, we do have a very compassionate link between Mercury and Neptune. And it's just encouraging us to try to understand why we react in certain ways, what conditions us to have the responses we have. But I think that the full moon is essentially quite a triggering event. Please stay with me for your in-depth forecast for each of the 12 signs. So Cancer, your week commencing the 30th of January forecast begins with the Sun and Mars forging a really energized link. But of course, Mars has been tucked away in that 12th house since the 20th of August last year, and that's not been a very easy location for this disruptive at times influence to be. Of course, Mars is about action, and it's about taking control, and it's about being strong and firm and all the rest of it. But the 12th house is so reflective. We have a contra energy that has developed for you. Now this week, Mars starts the week in a glorious angle to the Sun, and the Sun's in the part of your situation to do with your longer term resources. So if you are wanting to make progress with something you've been planning in on the back burner for some time, doing lots of deep research, really taking soundings, getting much more informed, then you could actually make some big progress with that. Now, of course, we have a full moon this week, which is asking you to balance the ins and the outgoings of your financial resources in a prosaic way. But of course, the 2nd and 8th houses can also be 2nd house, your self-worth, the 8th house where you're devoted or invested with others. If there's something that's not working around any kind of relationship, business, professional or personal, where your values are not aligning very well with the other person, it could be something to do with a matter of principle that you speak out about, because Uranus dissects in a T-square these two positions. Uranus is actually in an agitating link with the Sun for much of this week. The 11th house can be a little bit clingy and possessive. It's not saying you're being like that, but you could encounter someone like that. Whereas the 11th house is the ultimate free-spirited location for Uranus. And this could see something that you feel so strongly about can come very much into the open. Now, Venus is in the part of your situation which is wonderful for travel, great for links with people at a distance or from a different background, or taking in any cultural exhibitions, anything like that will really be pleasing to your senses. But Venus also is in a tense right angle with Mars. So what does this suggest? In a long-standing relationship, it may not even be about a financial issue. It may not even be about who shows the commitment. It may actually be an old issue that could come boiling up from the depths and needs to come out into the open. Also, it is possible that someone from your past could be in touch with you, but you've got to be very cautious if that happens, to try to decipher and understand what the motive is, or if you have a latent desire to get in touch with someone from your past, what is it that you're trying to in some way sate? And of course, the 8th house can be to do with intimacy and sex. So just be aware of that, because Uranus is asking you to stick with your higher plan and not compromise on it. Once Mars moves into your sign on the 25th of March, you'll get lots of green lights, and that will really take you forwards in a very powerful way. But until then, you need to keep working with those old and rather deep rooted energies, which may be to do with grievances, hurts, rejections, past pain, upsets, or even stresses, and just keep healing them the best you can. You may not be able to solve all of the things that have happened to you, but you can change your relationship to them, and that's what Mars is asking you to do.